Welcome. This presentation on why the startup entrepreneur should appoint an internal auditor is again for the businessman, not propelled by the requirements of Section 138 of the Companies Act 2013, which mandates the appointment of an internal auditor in a given situation. In fact, most of the startups hold the view that the internal auditor is for the big ones, the bigger entities. For the record, statutorily for a private limited company, the parameters for appointment of the internal auditor are the threshold of a turnover of 200 crore rupees or more during the preceding financial year, or outstanding loans or borrowings from banks or public financial institutions exceeding 100 crore of rupees or more at any point in time during the preceding financial year. So both are relating to the preceding financial year. Of course, these parameters are something which a startup private limited entity need not grapple with. It's too early for them. So I'm speaking of an internal auditor who does not need to be statutorily, mandatorily appointed by the startup. Most startups I consult have the strengths in the promoters having profound strength in technology, marketing, product development, domain expertise, etc. For many areas I have listed in this presentation, particularly financial acumen, financial discipline, transactional recording and updation, timely and well-designed MIS, statutory compliance, and most important, brainstorming sessions. For these, they would have a mix of external consultants, some informal support of the auditors, close professional friends will chip in, all of which tend to be quite sporadic. You need someone who takes ownership of these functions. At a startup stage, it would not consume much of the professional time, but the quality of time that they put in makes all the difference. Of course, the startup cannot afford advisors for the different functional areas of accounting, compliance, finance, reporting, and mentoring. You then need to have in your inner circle that critical functionary, maybe with some sort of a team, if it's a firm which comes in with that specialization, having profound knowledge, multifaceted skills, and sound temperament who will play such a comprehensive role. Only a select few professionals, a special few, let me tell you, can fit into that role. I see the picture of a capable internal auditor who can double and triple up for his comprehensive, multifaceted role for the startup. Get the internal auditor trained to perform as a meeting jockey, and you have a game changer in your fold. It should also be noted that as the startup does not have the legal compulsion to appoint an internal auditor, any suitable professional from chartered accountants, company secretaries, finance professionals, or even lawyers would qualify for that role. We move on to the next slide. Why don't we appoint a competent statutory auditor for that role? You have to understand that the startup company needs to mandatorily, statutorily appoint a statutory auditor. A statutory audit firm may have the required competencies but are mandated not to provide certain other services to the management as they report to the shareholders. The internal auditor, by role and definition, reports to the management, and therefore the spectrum of services can be widened considerably based upon the requirement of the company and the competencies of the professional who is to be appointed as an internal auditor. My core competencies, my perception of core competencies of the internal auditor who will perform also as a meeting jockey in brainstorming sessions would be well conversant with the corporate and tax laws, both direct and indirect, FEMA regulations, etc. Should be conversant with industrial policy and fiscal and other benefits that are available so that the organization can take advantage of them. Well versed in financial restructuring and monitoring so that tweaking can be done from time to time. Conversant with business planning, research, designing and preparation, skills which he or she can deploy as a meeting jockey. Brainstorming capability, highly important. fitting in the shoes of a meeting jockey, as have always been propagating from time to time. Very good proficiency at written and spoken communication. Without it, expression will suffer, and the person would not command the attention and elicit respect from the team. Should be trustworthy, being privy to so many internal secrets that emanate during the discussions and the brainstorming sessions. A startup which has the acumen, the expertise of such an internal auditor, with the profile that I have just painted, will have built the platform, the very foundation on which your business will be professionally, systematically be built up to pursue its objectives. You are actually looking at a highly qualified resource who can be a part of the think tank of the startup enterprise. It fills in that vacuum, that yawning gap. Apart from the intellectual capital, such an internal auditor brings onto the table in the form of strategic guidance, particularly business planning. The expertise also translates into better accounting, internal control, process orientation, statutory compliance, and adherence to auditing norms. The final, all-reckoning point: why should such a multi-skilled, highly competent professional choose to become that vital differentiating resource for your startup? Offer him or her a stake, a share in the ownership, a slice of the equity. We will attract the right talent and provide the right ecosphere, the impetus for such a professional to excel. And yes, you could offer equity to the internal auditor, something which you cannot offer to the statutory auditor. So if I were to be that coveted internal auditor, I need to continually be on Riyaz to acquire knowledge and the 15 plus skill sets which will take my performance quotient to an altogether different altitude, so that I meet the needs of the enterprise from time to time without any difficulty. I'll always be updated. That, my friends, brings this presentation to an end. Be multi-skilled. The synthesis of knowledge and the variety of skills will bring you to an intersection where excellence will be naturally attracted to you. They say that the extraordinary success always gravitates to the person who has strived and worked relentlessly for it. So thank you for watching this video. To watch the full video and many others on outstanding managerial performance, communication, interviews, personality development, etc., do visit my YouTube channel titled Job Performance Enhancement Mastery. Thank you for your time.